Oh Lord help me, for goodness sake. I've still got a bunged up voice, and I've got to cast a rather long game here, but you know what? At least we've got Eldar. Of course we still have Space Marines, and of course it is the Tech Marine as well. Not just any Space Marines, Torpid's Tech Marine Company is striking once again. Kickin piloting our Eldar today. And Grantovich is going to be rocking a... Nope. I was going to say going to be rocking a no-tack opening, but that's not going to be the case. He is just, for whatever reason, opting for double scouts out of the base, which... not really ideal, given that the Tactical Space Marines cap 50% faster. But that's what he's doing. On that note, there is a lot of talk, in fact I believe it's actually in the patch notes right now, which aren't set in stone, but you know, that's the intended change for Tactical Space Marines to no longer be able to capture points 50% faster. I'm curious what you guys think. Please tell me in the comments down below for a bit of reference on that change. Hold on a sec. For a bit of background reference on that change, it's generally considered that both in 1v1 and team games, Space Marines are a little bit too strong. So the question that I would give you is does that come from tier 1 strength, and does that come from Tactical Space Marines? And thus, do you think that the Tactical Space Marines should lose their 50% extra cap speed? Anyway. Oh, and the proposal is for it to go on to the Sergeant in tier 2 instead, not to have it by default from tier 1. Anyway, we see the Banshees honestly narrowly escaping there with their life after being shotgun blasted. Warlock managed to push through this side. I believe he forced off, yeah, this... No, did he force off anything? Yeah, he forced off the Bolter Scouts, which are now coming out of the base once again. He actually tried to decap the power, but Grantovich actually perfectly timed his start of the power node construction to prevent that decap from occurring. But the Warlock just going to be backing off from there. It would take him forever to destroy that power node. Instead, going to be capturing the VP. So double Guardians for Kickin here should be pretty effective at countering the Tech Marine once he's not in green cover. And of course these Scouts. There is a fair bit of permanent green cover. On this map though, these tank traps, you cannot destroy them with vehicles or basically anything. So it's very permanent green cover. It's part of the reason why I always complain about tank traps. Kind of screws over IG really hard. But certainly very useful for a Tech Marine. As usual, the Howling Banshee is not really achieving a whole lot early on against these Space Marines, as to be expected. Their value, of course, comes later on in Tier 1. When Space Marines may want to go for some ASM to counter your Shurikens, or Rangers. And then the ASM get diced up by the Banshees. Those tank traps coming in quite handy here for the Guardians. Looks like that guy in the back there that the Tech Marine was shooting wasn't in one. Took a crazy amount of damage there from the Techie boy. And I'm just going to have to back off. Pretty even game so far. I mean, yeah, Grantovich has the Artificer armor and of course has shotguns, which is why the economy is imbalanced like this. You can see Kickin is coming up very soon to being able to get a Shuriken, but instead he's opting for the Champion's Robe. I find that really weird. Champion's Robe and Triple Aspect. I think he would be a lot better served to get his 4th unit out, be it Rangers or Shuriken. Now that we see the mine in play, the Shurikens, well, a Ranger squad should probably come out before the Shuriken. Needs to negate these mines. They could be very, very dangerous on retreat path. Just imagine having some mines down here. The Banshees take a fight and after retreat, boom, they'll end up getting wiped in retreat. If not by mines, then they could by grenades. Fighting Space Marines is very scary for all these reasons. Just going to be throwing it out of infiltration. Kickin is watching though. Honestly, probably would have been better to try and get that on retreat, but is Grantovich watching? He is, so he dodges that grenade relatively effectively. Scouts here encounter some Guardians. They don't like that fight. They're going to get out of there. They're not fully upgraded. Now, if the Scouts were fully upgraded, they could take the Guardians in a 1v1 scrap, but not the case. And then if the Guardians are fully upgraded in tier 2 of a Warlock, then they can take on even fully upgraded Scouts. Okay, we're going to be seeing some Rangers coming out at last.
Our forces shall have tools for their task.
Very interesting to see a Warlock here opting for a Champion's Robe but not going for the Merciless Witchblade. That's extremely rare. It's a pretty damn expensive war gear, this. I believe it's 30 power, so I would not be getting it. 30 power for a energy shield and only a meager 150 HP max HP increase. It's not really worth it without getting that Merciless Witchblade. Because of course buffing the HP of your hero is better the stronger your hero is in combat, right? But by default that Witchblade on the Warlock is really not very good. I mean, you can see the damage there coming out of the special is negligible. And in fact the Warlock by default does about 30 DPS in melee, the Farseer does 35. Actually significantly more DPS. Literally. I was going to say literally 20%. It's not literally 20%, but close. Scouts got to get out of here. Yeah, they do react and not lose a model. And likewise, the Rangers caught out there needs to get out of there without losing a model. They do. Wow, a lot of investment here onto the Tech Marine Mass-Crafted Bolter, and you see the result of this. It means that both players are basically going to tier 2 at a very similar time, even though Grantovich only has 3 units to the 4 of Kickin. Now, of course, Rangers, pretty cheap unit in general. They do have their upgrade to get their long rifles, so they are a bit more expensive. It's not like they're just the default version, which I believe is only 210.20 in price, but still a cheap squad, not like ASM or something. Oh, now that was a brutal grenade. Man, Scouts are so friggin' annoying. And the little bit of pew pew there from the Tech Marine going to result in 4 Banshee models going down. Very fortunate for Kickin, they do actually manage to escape. Warlock has now run out of energy for his shield. Here comes a grenade. Beautiful grenade. Nicely positioned. Perfectly timed there. Exploded right underneath the Tech Marine's feet, and he is going to go down. Grantovich going to be repurchasing that motherfucker instantly. What level is this guy? This guy's level 1, so it still only costs 250 to repurchase him. That cost goes up as the hero receives levels. And of course Grantovich wants this guy back ASAP. He's put a lot of money into him. He's got that Artificer armor and the bolter. Now I don't believe we've actually seen any more mines go down yet, but even without the mines, the Artificer armor is really nice. I mean, look at those stats, guys. 2.5 HP per second regen on a ranged hero is really high. And plus 200 max HP. Makes the techie super tanky. Now manages to snipe one of the scout models over there with the Rangers. Every little helps. The economy is super similar right now. But honestly, it doesn't look bad for Kickin because Kickin's got a Falcon out. And that is going to be contrasted with the Razorback for Grantovich. With the Razorback here getting the reinforced armor plating, it actually becomes very similar in price to the Falcon. But crucially, the Falcon obviously does anti-vehicle damage. The Razorback doesn't. So the Razorback will always lose the 1v1 to the Falcon. Now the Razorback is actually faster than the Falcon, so in theory it should be able to kite it and avoid just getting killed by it, but we'll see how that works in practice. It's very annoying because it's a fairly concise map. It's very annoying to never be able to position your Razorback in a situation where it might meet the Falcon. We're going to need AV, and we do see some AV. We see the missile launch coming out of the Tactical Space Marines here, but now Kickin's Exarch is here for the Howling Banshees. So now, when they activate their Fleet of Foot, the squad will take 40% less range damage, and that is going to really help them get in there and tie up and disrupt those tactical space marines with a rocket launcher. We also see both of the warlock leaders coming out for the guardians. That's going to help them be a little bit more durable, output a little bit more damage as well, help deal with this very tanky tech marine and scout squad. But the whole time Grantovich doing a decent job here with their default scouts, decapping the natural. You see they've caught here and taken all of these points. Not doing terrible. A little bit strange positioning here though from the scout squad coming in the back. Gonna get wrecked by the banshees. I guess Grantovich completely forgot about them. Was going to be risking getting grenaded in retreat as well, but yeah, I mean the missile attacks are AV, but they're just not very high DPS AV, so when there's double repairs, I don't know how effective it is. In fact, now that I think about it, in fact, does it tell me? Indeed it does. 17.81 DPS on the missile launcher here for the tactical space marines, but of course there were 2 guardians nearby, so that is double repairs. These guys, as all standard repair units do, which is every single repair unit in the game except guardsmen, they repair at 10 HP per second. So that Falcon right there was getting 20 HP per second healing versus the 17.81 DPS coming out of the tactical space marine missile launcher. That Falcon could not die until the guardians were removed. And it's a brutal combo because of course the guardians are just reinforcing, so it's hard to remove them. That said, this is a lot of bleed for the Eldar. There's a beautiful positioning here from the Razorback, just farming free kills basically on the Guardians, who aren't even able to finish off the generator. And not only is this bleeding the requisition income of Kickin, and it's not doing it very well either if we check out his income. It is actually feeding a lot of XP to the Space Marines as well. So we've got a level 3 techie, level 2 tax, and not even level 2 Razorback yet, or Scouts. Wow, I'm honestly quite shocked. I guess basically nothing must have died in tier 1, I can't even remember. But it mustn't have, because man, he killed a lot of Guardians there. He really did. Rangers with the long rifles putting in some good work here. Ooh. Big hit from the P-Devs though. One more of them and that will be a dead Falcon. The 15% damage resistance there from the Warlock saving those Guardians. They would have just died instantly if they didn't have that upgrade. You can see the power of these new Rangers here. Very, very high DPS on the triple long rifles, but just terrible damage distribution and not very good burst damage.
Has fallen to ruin. We are losing a requisition.
Sorry guys, I have to keep muting myself because I'm having fucking fits of coughing or sniffing. So if I'm just pausing for strangely long periods of time, then that's what's going on. And it's happening so frequently that I can't even like mention it. But both players here now opting for tier 3. This is a bit of a weird game, to be honest. It's really weird to see the Space Marine going for the Razorback into a P-Dev tier 2. I mean, how often do you see that? That's man, that is rare. Oh, and a turret. I forgot about the turret. My bad, my bad. Turret to protect the P-Devs. Interesting. This could be a brutal shot. Nope. No, misfires. I guess that was not a ground target, it was just a natural sort of wind up when the Rangers reveal themselves for a second after shooting from infiltration. So they're getting some poke on the P-Devs here, but the P-Devs of course can ground target. This could be pretty scary for the Rangers. How does that not even kill a model? Like seriously? P-Dev into a grenade. Yeah, it's okay. Killed 2 Rangers. Now the Falcons I'm looking at Kickin's comp here and I'm thinking, dang boy. This is going to be pretty tough to deal with. So the Falcon now, because he's in tier 3, gets access to that shield. It's not as powerful as hero shields, but you would hope it isn't, because he's got vehicle armor, not commander armor. Still really strong. It's so nice to be able to absorb damage from your shield, and then of course you turn it off and it automatically heals. It's kind of like a free repair. It's very cool. Just eating that missile attack shot there, no problem. And he's able to double it up with a Fire Prism, which of course has superior range to basically everything. Going to be able to outrange this turret massively. And the Falcon with this shield basically is the closest thing that Eldar have to an actual tank. The Fire Prism is certainly not that. The Fire Prism is, I believe, slower than the Falcon. It might be similar speed. It's a lot slower than a tank. And certainly than other transports too. And it doesn't have amazing DPS, but of course it, why can it not hit the Tarantula turret? That's weird. Is he ground targeting? He must be ground targeting, right? Just go get line of sight. What are you doing? I don't know what's going on with this Fire Prism. I think he didn't actually have line of sight and was just ground targeting. Which evidently is not very effective. Now if I was Kickin, I'd be getting the Seer Council next, because Grantovich doesn't really have a counter to that squad right now. No Devastators, no Stern Guard, and wow, that Razorback just got wrecked by that Prism. A little bit behind on the VPs here, Kickin, but honestly, Kickin looks like he's in an amazing position. The combination of a Falcon and a Fire Prism is so nice. Let's see if he can play it right though right now, because he's going to be having to pilot it against a Predator tank. I mean, honestly, yeah, this is a trivial situation for Kickin. With the Prism's range, it's easy for him to poke at the Predator, whilst things like the Banshee's tank and zone the Pred. Probably wants to move the Rangers across here. Rangers have the best sight range in the game, so you put the Rangers here while it's infiltrated, and you get vision over here to then let your Fire Prism shoot. Fire Prism getting a rear armor hit there on the Predator somehow, doing crazy amounts of damage. Looks like 3 of them would have killed the Predator. I don't know how that was a rear armor hit, but there you go. And of course, with this energy shield, the Falcon's a lot more tanky than usual, so it can literally drive forward, tank the Predator shots. I'm pretty sure it will lose the 1v1 just because its DPS is not very good compared to a Predator. Of course, that's why you have the Prism too. That's why the combo is so strong. So, I don't really know what Grantovich is waiting for. I mean, he can't push this, but I mean, why is he blobbing his army here? He should probably split up and attack the left and right flanks. Let's see, P-Dev shot. Oh, boy! Fucking hell. Rangers getting gibbed, and that is actually pretty bad for Kickin. I don't know why they were shooting. They shouldn't have been shooting. They just had to infiltrate and spot for the Fire Prism. Their little pew-pew shots, not relevant. Because now he's lost that Ranger squad, which is so much better than Guardians when it comes to actually getting line of sight for your units. And he needs that line of sight because he's got double Fire Prisms right now, and that is why he's going to be replacing that Ranger squad. Not too expensive, 230-20, but you know, still a shame. They probably had levels. That money could have gone into an Avatar or a Seer Council. I mean, honestly, Grantovich doesn't even have a counter for the Avatar either. I think Avatar and Seer Council would both be pretty good right now. He still does have the double Guardians and the Banshees, so Avatar buffs could be okay. With the Falcon and double Prisms, like a Predator should be no problem. But let's see, I mean, we've got the twin-linked Las Cannon and the extra armor upgrade here, so the DPS is going to be huge. One more shot kills that Prism. Okay, well, this Prism is on... Oh my god. Kick it. What are you doing? This Prism here was on its dispersed shot, not the focus beam, so it was doing basically nothing to the Predator, which is a huge problem. I think, well, I mean, for sure, if that was the focus beam, this would have been a dead Predator. And to then drive the Falcon like that forward was quite absurd. I don't believe there was any control onto the missile attacks, which just aimlessly walked forward and shot at the prism. So yeah, not the best handled engagement there from Kickin, but fortunately for him, he does have a really nice stockpile of resources, and he's been kind of dominating the map control too. I've been watching this side of the map here on the west, and he seems to have pretty much always had that. Wow, attack bombing is going to wipe the P-Devs. Little bit slow reaction there from Grantovich. Honestly, I think if he reacted instantly, he would have been fine to not die from the attack with a retreat. But he could have also just moved the P-Dev forward. Like, Rangers don't have that high DPS. You know that you had to retreat instantly or die. He could just walk forward and then retreated after the bombs came in and not been wiped. But a good play from Kickin. I mean, that P-Dev was causing him problems for sure. And no longer is it going to be doing that. So he needs to be very careful with the Prism. Don't drive it too far forward to the Predator, of course. The Predator will win that 1v1. It's just so precarious right now with the Prism having this little HP, literally going to die in 2 shots to that twin-linked las cannon. So no problem with pew-pewing from a distance, just, you know, ultimately if the Predator just rushes forward right now, the Prism's screwed. And on that basis, I don't know why the Prism is staying here. It needs to be driving backwards. With the Banshees around, it's a little bit more safe. They got that aspect of strength, heavy melee. The Predator is just focusing on the Prism. That could cause problems for it. What is the Autark doing, man? I don't know what she was doing, jumping around that husk of the vehicle. Now Kickin, I guess, freaking out about the orbital bombardment, but I mean, he dodges it perfectly. Grantovich is going to be going for a Land Raider Redeemer. This is a really weird game, guys. I think Terminators right now would be perfect, really. Terminators and Signum Armor. That would allow you to count the Banshees if they rush the Terminators. In contrast, you get the Cloak of Shadows in your wallet to give the AoE range damage resistance. Land Raider Redeemer is going to get wrecked by Prisms. I might consider a Bright Lance as well if I was Kickin, just to deter the Predator from rushing the Prisms. The DPS from the Bright Lance would be very good, and unlike the Prisms, the Predator can't just free shot and wipe the Bright Lance. But Grantovich is quite on the back foot right now. Struggling on the VPs, 1 unit down in comparison to Kickin, will soon to be no, actually more right now. There's an Autark. Like, damn, there's 1, 2, 3, 7 units right now out for Kickin, and there is not even 4 out for Grantovich, not including the heroes on either side there. Yeah, I think Grantovich is in a tough spot here. Maybe he can get... Oh no, I was going to say maybe he can get Terminators after this Redeemer comes out. That's a brutal combo in 3v3. I don't know how any 1v1 player would deal with it. Eldritch Storm, I guess. But Kickin is nowhere near that. But he spent his money on something else. He spent his money on a Drop Pod Tactical Marine call-in. So I don't know what to make of that. Prisms right now, one of them is on the Disperse Beam. Definitely needs to be swapping to the Focus Beam. Okay, both of them on the Focus Beam right now. Should be focusing down the Predator tank. Rangers need to be infiltrating and hanging out here just to provide vision for the Prisms. Ooh, so close. But the Prisms can just focus fire the Land Raider Redeemer. Man, these Prisms are actually doing crazy damage to the Tactical Space Marines as well. It's quite impressive. And this is the value of the Prisms, man. You see, the main issue is that they have shit line of sight, so they can't even see the Land Raider Redeemer right now, even though he is well in range. You see, they actually get in line of sight right now from the requisition point. You see, he was well in range. So that's what you need to be using the Rangers for. Just don't shoot the Rangers. Put bloody hold fire on them, because you just keep them infiltrated and use them for line of sight. I mean, you know, we're in the late game. Level 1 long rifles and the Rangers, they're not contributing that much right now. Just keep them infiltrated and do not shoot. Wraithguard coming up now for Kickin. Logical choice. Really good choice to kill super heavy vehicles because of their large size. They can't really dodge the shots like tanks can. No champions were up there on the Warlock for some reason. Bit strange. Clear miss macro from Kickin. I mean, let's face it, there's a lot of units for Kickin to be macroing right now, but kind of sloppy. He keeps leading the Predator with like sub 200 HP. Yeah, I mean, it's still... It pushes the Pred back. The Pred's going to have to get repairs. That's going to delay a lot of time. I think this tactical marine calling from Grantovich was probably the game-losing decision here. I think if he just waited, didn't use Blessings of the Omnicide, but instead opted to call in Terminators, then that combo could have won it for him. A good teleport into Cyclone missile launcher with Terminators can wipe prisms easily because they're so fragile. And then the Terminators get assault cannon. No, they can't because he's got Cyclone missile launcher. It doesn't matter. Just their storm bolters and power fists, they can deal with the Wraithguard pretty easily, unless Banshees are nearby. But you then just drive forward with your Land Raider, right? Burn the Banshees with the heavy incinerators. Again, Rangers walking forward now into firing line of potentially double tactical Space Marines. They need to stay infiltrated and they need to be further forward so that the prisms can actually focus fire the Redeemer. Guardians then can be getting on the caps. Plasma gun. Why? Why does he have a plasma gun? Just to kill the Wraithguard. I mean, the DPS increase is such that the plasma gun is marginally better even against light infantry, even though plasma does only half damage to the light infantry. But it's not cost effective, and I feel like the prisms are the primary threat right now. Distort field going to be giving them some damage resistance, but forced off nonetheless. Wraithguard trying to take out the heavy tank. Okay, the flank comes from the Predator here, but it's a really disjointed push. Land Raider Redeemer is just chilling in the corner. There's literally nothing pushing with the Predator. Obviously going to be easily pushed back by the double fire prisms here. Nice use of the holofield actually from the Rangers. I guess Grantovich didn't see the prisms. I don't know. He must have known they were down there. They were poking at the Land Raider Redeemer for long enough, and honestly, fire prisms right now have basically cooked Grantovich. He can't do anything to push against them. You've seen the Predator get absolutely wrecked there. And there's just not enough repair support, even with the Tech Marine and dropping all that red on Blessing of the Omnisire. Not enough repair support. Land Raider Redeemer might have a lot of health, but when it's just getting chipped away at for free by these prisms constantly, you're going to need a lot of repair support. And only having one scout squad, not good for Grantovich. I don't see how he can possibly win this. I think he really needed the Terminators with the Cyclone missile launcher. I'm struggling to see what else you can use to kill the fire prisms. And, you know, that would have been a very effective counter, trust me. Now, obviously, if he had ASM, this wouldn't be so difficult, because then he can do the jump into Melter Bomb combo, and then you can kill the fire prisms with all sorts. But if you don't have Melter Bombs, you can't snare the prisms. They're just going to drive away from your mobile infantry. Obviously, las cannons are useless against prisms used by proper players. They just go to disperse beam and knock your last cannon over. Even focus beam, if they get lucky, can hit the front model. And yeah, the Land Raider gets wrecked. What level are these prisms? They're doing loads of damage. This one's level 2, this one's only level 1. Really good damage from these things. They're doing better than I remember against the infantry as well. They're constantly sniping tactical marine models. Very impressive showing. So yeah, cool game this, and a nice... I always hear complaints from lower level players, generally, sometimes less low level players, that the fire prisms are just useless. But it's because they think they're fast attack tanks like Predators or looted tanks or something like that, when they're not. That is the role of the Falcon in Tier 3 with the energy shield. These are tank destroyers, and they double up at also being really good anti-infantry support units. So, you know, you've got to keep that in your head when you're using them. You've got to have support for them. Like I was saying earlier, there were opportunities for Grantovich to rush the Predators down, rush the Prisms down with his Predator, and that's where Kickin was floating a little bit. Instead of going for the Graveguard, he could have opted for a Bright Lance and just positioned it down here or here behind an energy shield, just used it defensively to zone any rush by the Predator. And then the combined DPS of the Bright Lance with the Prisms would mean you'd actually kill the Predator before it could even kill the Fire Prism. Otherwise, Grantovich could be driving in, kill a Prism, drive out, heal. Driving, kill a Prism, drive out, heal. Like he's doing right now. This is clearly micro errors from Kickin. This Prism not focusing down the Predator, that whole engagement, and this Prism being out of position. And now the Predator's actually going to flank around and be able to kill the other Prism, but it doesn't matter, the VPs have run out. There is only 5 VPs when he started this cap. And remember guys, how many VPs do you need in order to be able to capture the VP in time? Decap it. 7 is the answer that you need for that one. 7. So not enough time for Grantovich. He is going to be losing this match, running out of VPs, and a bit of a shame actually. Predator does manage to flank around here. Likely, well, 100% will kill that Prism. So compositionally, Grantovich actually looking in a pretty decent composition. I think he just needed Terminators here. Can you imagine trying to kill Terminators plus a Land Raider Redeemer in oh my god, in 1v1? Like that, good luck, my friend. Even with your double fire Prisms, the regen on the Terminators when they're next to the Redeemer to give them extra healing, so tough to handle. Now, it wouldn't be impossible. I was saying for a while that Kickin should have had Seer Council, and having Seer Council to tie up the Terminators with Distort Field to give them range damage resistance, because the heavy flamers of the Redeemer would be scary, and then you can stack that with the Cloak of Shadows from the Warlock as well. That probably could have dealt with it, especially if you slap an Eldritch Storm in there to shut the Land Raider up and take off 70% of its HP. Would have been nice to see. But anyway, you got a really good 1v1 there, and you've seen a Land Raider Redeemer and some really nice Prism play. You don't get to see that every day. Hope you did enjoy, folks. That's going to be all from me. Torpid signing out.